Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wrestling RHAPup podcast. I'm your host, Mari Forth, and with me, as always, my co-host, my tag team partner, the top dollar to my Isaiah Swerve Scott, Mr. Matt Scott. No relation. How you doing?
Wow. Uh,
I
Good
know.
times. It's sad. I was sad. I
Very.
wasn't ready for that. But damn, I'm good. You know what? I'm good generally. This week this week is an exhausting week to talk about pro
Yes,
wrestling.
it is.
Very, very, very exhausting. Um, if we're gonna look at silver linings though, we weren't about to podcast and seeing the releases coming out in real time. We've had a
Yeah.
little time to process it. Um yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a wild week with wrestling and not a fun week. Not a fun week.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is just so disheartening, and I feel like if it's disheartening for us, I can only imagine what the superstars are going through. Like,
Yeah.
just to be okay. So what we're talking about is WWE had another string of releases last night. A few,
Just
um,
just a few, on
just
top
a
of the
few people.
other 70 that they already
Yeah,
did earlier this year.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, WWE have, according to Fightful.com, Sean Ross Sapp, uh, WWE had released John Morrison, Top Dollar, Ashanti the Adonis, Isaiah Swerve Scott, collectively known as Hit Row,
Yeah.
uh, Tegan Knox, Drake Maverick, Shane Thorne, and Jackson Riker. So it just sucks. Like, well, that's why the homage to Hit Row at the top, because I mean, what a freaking
What
roller
the
coaster. Like,
No, that's so disrespectful, like,
it really is.
to not I mean, beyond the wrestlers themselves, if we could be even a little selfish for a minute as
Mhm.
fans, like, what are you thinking? This is the definitely one of the hottest acts, and there have been weeks
Yes.
where they have been the most interesting thing happening in WWE. They're just so
Yeah, in
different.
NXT specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, so different, and WWE can't figure out what to do with them or like keep them around. I am confusion. I don't understand. It's a lot to process.
Right, exactly. Like, I just it really is. It's a lot because when we came back, when we came back
Ooh,
earlier this summer, the first the all of our first guests, we showed them Hit Row, you know what I'm saying? And every single one of them were like, at the end of the podcast, we always ask our guests, who do you want to keep up with? Who did were you surprised by the most? And I think what 90% of them said Hit Row. Like they're so excited to see Hit Row go further and all of that. So like, and that, that's from a casual point of view, which WWE
that
claims that's who they want to reach.
yeah, and then the other thing too is that literally the week before BFAB was released, which mind you was less than 3 weeks ago. Like
It
maybe
was 2
that
weeks
was
ago.
2 weeks ago at
It
this
was 2
point.
weeks ago. 2
Yeah,
weeks
two
in a
weeks
day.
ago. Yeah, so like it was I was out walking on the street and I hear music in the distance like you do in a city, and
Mhm.
I'm like, "What? Do I hear the Hit Row theme song? Is my Spotify playing?" No, wait, what? There's just someone randomly biking by playing the Hit Row song. And to me that was a moment
Wow.
obviously before the releases where it clicked like, damn, they have potential for like mainstream appeal, mainstream crossover, or just
Right.
crossover to different audiences that they don't already appeal to. And not only potential, but they were already on that path. And then,
Mhm.
3 weeks later, somehow they're all gone. Like, what? What?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, how did we get to here at this point? Because, like, when did they got drafted? Yeah, like you said, 3 weeks ago. Like maybe four. When was the draft? Like the beginning of October. It didn't kick in
Yeah.
until the last week of October.
Yes. Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
how did we get here? And it's just, to me, it feels like out of touch corporate executives,
Yeah.
you know, don't understand what they have, and then they cut them. Like, it's so
Yeah.
annoying. And especially like Isaiah Swerve Scott, I think we talked about it, but he, he used to be I think it was the MLW champion, if I remember correctly, under his original name, I think was
Shane
Shane Strickland.
Strickland. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a dude that I knew about. This is one of the few people that I've actually followed before they got to WWE. Like, he was just so magnetic on MLW that me and my husband really, really liked him. Like, on MLW, made me watch I couldn't even tell you what channel MLW is on, but we watched it for him. So when we heard
Yeah.
he was coming to WWE, it was just like, he's done so good. Like, him specifically, he's done so good in NXT, in WWE. With I don't think he ever became did he ever become the cruiserweight champion? I don't think he did, but he was a North American champion. And
Yeah.
then when they put Hit Row around him, I thought this was it. Like, he was
Gold.
he was already a top star, and I was like, this is gonna make him a superstar. And again, I still feel like Hit Row had their merch was sold out. Like, they sold out of their merch was sold out. So
Wow.
please give me a reason as to why they were cut. I really want to know. Um
There's
so I'm
literally like not a good reason that they could possibly give other than it being something that was out of WWE's control. And I don't believe that because as we've
mm,
seen multiple times this year, and like as context, like I am sitting here staring at the list that wrestling commentator, I'll say Denise Sal, and I'm blanking on how to say
yeah,
her last name, but I'll say Sal
I know who you're talking
Cato.
about.
um
Mhm.
Denise posted just a notes app list of the 80 releases this year, and like at some point, well, I mean, you know what, just really, really quickly to like run through this. It'll take about 45 seconds. Bobby Fish, Mercedes Martinez, Leon Ruff, Tyler Russ, Bronson Reed, Jake Atlas, Ari Sterling, Kona Reeves, Zechariah Smith, Asher Hale, Giant Sant. See, I can't even go through the list because it's so freaking long. But
Yeah.
one day it would be nice to do it because it is
Yeah.
all these people who are like such stars, and it's really not a reflection on their ability. It's not a reflection of their star power. It's a reflection on a company that's definitely out of touch with a lot of what its fans want. And it's
Mhm.
also a reflection on the fact that this is not a pro wrestling company. This is a sports entertainment, increasingly moving to being an entertainment company. And
Mhm.
so if they think they could get rid of these incredible people and kind of continue on, that's on them. But it does suck because like at the end of the day, I'm thinking of a tweet from the former Frankie Monet, Taya Valkyrie, who said,
Mhm.
stop supporting a company that has zero respect for their talent. You love pro wrestling. Spend your money on the hundreds of alternatives. This is wrong. Ethically, as employers, they don't care about us, talent or fans, which like that is
Ooh.
probably the hottest take that's come out. But I think there's a
It's
lot of truth to it.
especially a hot take, since she kind of thanked them 2 weeks ago, though.
Well, also, I mean, I could see how she's mad because like her husband was also just released this
Right.
wave. So
Mhm.
especially brutal. But the thing that's really brutal in my mind is the fact that each and every time they give the explanation of budget cuts, and
Oh
it just
God,
feels
yes.
like even if that's something they feel they have to do for liability or whatever reason, like it feels like it's insulting the talent's intelligence, and it's
And
also horrible
ours.
for and ours, and it's
Yeah.
horrible for company culture purposes. Like,
Mm.
okay, I could be the best performer ever, and budget cuts, that's it. Okay.
Like, you cannot say budget cuts when you've made record amount of profit in, like, within the year. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you're
Yeah.
banking on us being stupid and your talent being stupid. Like, it just
Hmm.
doesn't make sense. And yeah, John Morrison, like you pointed out, John Morrison was released here in this round. It led to speculation that a lot of people think that maybe this round of cuts may have been people who may have
Yeah.
asked to be
Mm.
released, as almost like, a rebound from what happened 2 weeks ago. Like, that
I
would
don't
make
believe
sense.
that though for John Morrison in
You don't think
particular.
so?
No, because like how could she be so how could Taya Valkyrie be
Oh,
so
be so, yeah.
upset
That's true.
I think that it's like one thing that I heard was that John Morrison, well, he was on the European tour a couple weeks
Oh,
ago when
right.
they did the
Mm-hmm.
other releases. And so maybe there were people who were on that tour who they didn't release because they were like literally in another country on tour,
Oh,
maybe, but we never know. There's no way of knowing because there's no
dang.
transparency with any of it, right?
Oh my gosh. That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
But I don't know if
Wow.
that pans out. I do know that John Morrison was on the UK tour. I don't know about the rest of
Everybody
everyone
else.
else.
Yeah.
Ooh. But yeah,
Yeah.
this
And
is but
then
I would just encourage people to like go and check out the list of names that were released because it is
from the
really
whole
easy
year.
from the
Yeah.
whole freaking year. Not even the whole
Mm-hmm.
pandemic cuz that's even longer. The whole year and just to
Just
see the
2021. Yeah.
2021 just to see the people, see like who's on that list.
The
It's
amazing
wild
talent.
because
Yeah.
if we look at even Survivor Series the last 2 years, I was like running into like clips and pictures and other things from past Survivor Series, and it's like, damn, like Lana was the sole survivor of the women's team last year.
Just
I'm pretty
last
sure,
year.
unless yeah, that was just
Yeah.
last year. And look
Like
at her. And that's not the only. I mean, we could go through the list of people who had really strong Survivor Series showings. They had the NXT Survivor Series dynamic back in I think
2 years ago.
2019
Mm-hmm.
exactly, and a number of people from that were also gone. So like it's hard to get invested when maybe our faves like the main event faves won't be let go by any stretch of the imagination, but like everyone else
It's fair
is
game. It
just and
feels like
they're
it.
seemingly dispensable, so it's
Right.
hard to kind of get invested, especially knowing how brutal it is. I will also point out that like Xavier Woods, King Xavier, was on G4
Oh, right.
on
Yeah. I was just about to
live
go into that.
when
Mm-hmm.
he got the news. Yeah, what did you think of
Yeah.
that,
We're not
Mari?
I saw that. Like so some people are saying it's not real. I really don't know. I don't know how they would think it's not real. I don't
Uh,
know. But if it's
Not real
true,
like.
it doesn't make sense because I mean he just started G4, so why wouldn't it be real? But some people are saying it's from a different time. Like that clip was from some a different time, but I don't know.
A different time when there were releases, or
I mean, I don't know, but anyways,
yeah,
I'm just throwing that out there as like in some like allegedly. I don't know, but
yeah,
yeah, that's what I saw that, and my thought process is like, can you imagine like not just like the people who get fired, but people like Xavier who stay. Like people were
yeah,
talking about his YouTube channel, up, down, down is kind of like
yeah,
in a limbo, which is crazy because we watch it all the time. Like me and James
yeah,
watch it
yeah,
like all the
yeah.
time. BRE is gone. Like all
Ugh.
of not all of BRE, but they're no longer on up, down, down because Jessamine, Mia, are no longer with the company. Only
Yeah,
Dakota and Shayna. And for the party, literally it's only Xavier Woods and Cesaro standing.
oh my gosh.
So it's just kind of like and this was
Yeah,
the YouTube that he fought so hard to keep, by from
yeah.
allegedly like letting WWE profit off of it, and now they're just cutting all of his stuff up, so
They needed to
it's
find a better way to like go about this that's keeping in mind that you need to really take your talent's mental health into account, which
mhm.
I feel very confident saying like I don't care. I don't care if even in theory if they offer mental health resources, they very well might, but that's not an
Mhm.
excuse to like fire a bunch of people's friends and then expect them to be normal
Mm,
after the fact. Like that's not good for anyone in any job. So this is rough and hard to watch. Even everything you're saying about up, up, down, down, like on the list of people who are released, the one name that stands out, Tyler Breeze, who was a huge part of that, right? And there are
yeah,
so many others, right? Ember Moon,
and
Keith
yeah,
Lee, he was probably on there a ton, right? And so
Adam,
Mia
yeah,
Yim, oh my
Adam
gosh,
Cole. Adam Cole was on
Adam
stream
Cole.
when he found out about Tyler Breeze being cut. Adam
Oh,
Cole left. He didn't sign his
yeah,
contract. He didn't get
still.
released.
I mean,
Yeah.
still though, like he's good for him that was the, the way that he was able to go out. But also, he could have very well been released too. So,
And I don't know if
ugh,
we talked about it, but the rumor is that Kyle O'Reilly is
yeah.
probably going to be joining them in AEW some point because I think his contract is up soon.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if you have a company that will pay you and also where you won't have anxiety every day about potentially being released because you're not in that like top tier or in that like I don't even know who's
the
perpetually safe.
untouchable, kind of
The
like yeah.
untouchables, because that
Mhm.
like our truth, I would assume isn't being released ever. Like that's one person I would put into that category, but anything could happen. But also, I would
Which is
feel
funny since
very
he's left the company at least 3 times.
I know. I would feel confident saying, like, he's not
I
going
know.
anywhere. Vince McMahon would be upset. The other wrestlers would be upset. But, like,
Yeah.
you don't know. And it's just very hard to get invested when, like, literally week to week, these things change. It's not like, oh, we're taking you off of TV and then you're on the shelf for 5 months and then you're released. It's like, you were just here last week and
Mhm.
you're gone. Maybe
Yeah.
you won your match. Maybe you had a vignette, like whatever, like screen, like, but
Maybe
I
they
don't know.
advertised you for next week, you know?
Maybe you were on the Survivor. Who knows? Maybe someone who's on one of the Survivor Series teams. Well, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
Well, it is horrible, and we
But,
we kinda gotta move on from this,
well,
but
I
it's
will
just
say,
yeah,
yeah,
uh-huh.
like on a silver lining note, I just wanted to mention like the Drake Maverick thing that I saw that
Oh,
was so
yes.
cool. The
Yes, yes, yes.
video, I love that. I love that man. And
Drake
Rockstar
Maverick is
Spud,
amazing.
Drake
Yeah.
Maverick, whatever his name is when he
Yes,
decides to
Rockstar
kind of
Spud.
rebrand everything again. He put out a video that was just so well produced and
So
inspirational,
good.
and just with this point that like you can't, no one could fire you from pro wrestling, which is like
Yeah.
a damn.
And it was a
It's true.
callback to his last video too, because remember
It
he got
was.
released last year, and
Yep.
he did the heartfelt
Ugh.
video, and they ended up bringing him back for like a
Yeah.
underdog run,
Yeah.
which was good for for a time. So he did, which also he released that very quickly. So I was like, did he had
Oh,
that
it's
loaded
been
up in the
edited.
chamber?
I need to take
he,
yeah, everyone should take notes. Like, he should
he
teach a
had that
course
loaded.
on, like, maybe, like, masterclass.com or something like that, like, how to be
Yes.
ready to get fired. You just anyone who's listening, you need your video ready now just in case, so
Yes.
you could drop
I
it
don't
the
blame
2
him.
minutes
He's
later.
like,
Oh, no,
he
good
said
for
it happened
him.
once, it can happen again.
He said, "I know it's happening again at some point," which, I mean, yeah, if it happens once, odds are that it could happen again.
That's so funny. It's not
Yeah,
funny,
but
but
good for
he's
him.
great. He's great, and
No,
he's
that's
gonna do good things.
legendary. That was
Yeah,
actually a legendary video. And again, check him out. I think he might still be at WWE Maverick or WWE Drake
for right
Maverick or
now.
something
Yeah.
like that for now. So check him out and check out that video.
And another
Yeah.
reminder to just support your local independent wrestling scene.
Hmm.
By no stretch of the means, like Drake Maverick said, you did not, your dream was not to be a WWE superstar, it was to be a pro wrestler. And nobody can fire you from pro wrestling. So, which is very true. Um, so just support. There's plenty of other shows out there that you can support in person or online, and you can follow your talent wherever they go, because that is a good thing about the reality era and social media.
Yeah.
Is like, if you like somebody and you follow them, you'll know exactly where they're at. So, well, that
Yep.
sounded bad, but you know what I'm saying, wrestling wise.
But yeah, you mean
I
that
said if
sound
you
bad like a
follow
stalker
somebody
sense
like a
or
stalker.
okay,
Yes.
just checking.
Oh, but yeah, so
Yeah, don't follow people
shout out to
in stalker ways.
all of the people, our thoughts are and prayers of course are with you.
Yeah.
And I meant to say shout out to Denise Salcedo, who you mentioned. Support women's wrestling journalists and women's journalists in general.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have
Um
her on at some point. Who
oh my
knows?
god, would you would you stop?
I also want
She's gonna
I
be
have
like,
a
who?
list.
Who's requesting?
What's her yeah, there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people on the
um
list. The Coral
so
from the Real World New York. We're still
yeah.
waiting for your reply.
So Full Gear was this past weekend. we wanted to give a full coverage, but honestly, guys, it's Friday. We are trying to get this out because we are on the road to
Mm-hmm.
Survivor Series. We will be there
Literally.
in person, literally on the road to
Not
Survivor
see,
Series.
and I'm just gonna comment. Yes, Mari did say support independent wrestling.
Yes, I did.
We're with you on that. We're with you on
Yes.
that. We just are happen to be going to Survivor Series, which is not independent wrestling.
Yes. We did not.
And we
I
did
know.
not plan
We just
on the
spent
timing of
20
it
minutes.
either.
Yeah,
Our
we just spent
faves,
20 minutes ragging on WWE and we're actually going.
well,
Yeah,
it's
but
like
that's how it
30,
goes.
probably like 30 of our faves when we planned on going. 30 of our faves were probably still on the roster and now they're gone. So
Right.
a lot of changes. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? We'll be there
We'll be
and we'll
there.
see you
And
on
if you
Instagram.
see us, if you guys
Oh,
are there and you see
yeah.
us, come say hi.
Yeah,
Come
please.
shout us out. We'll put you on RHAP grams. We'll see.
Yeah, if you see us, let me just reiterate, if you see us and you recognize us, which I would assume
Well,
that's what
duh.
happens when you see
When you
us,
see
is that if you were like, that's Matt and Mari, like there's a 6'7" strapping black legend, and
Yeah.
there is like this shorter but still very tall 6 foot Amazonian powerful strong, a future divas women's champion, all of the belts, Mari, come up to us because it's
I
us and
am
say
not six
something.
foot.
Well, look, I'm not 6'7",
That's
but who
true.
cares?
Just yeah, come say hi. Come say hi.
Yeah,
We will be there. But yeah, so we're trying to get in, get out, yo. We're trying to get in, get out. So, but
yeah.
um, I do have to say,
Uh,
Hangman Page is the AEW World Champion. I am so
shocker,
excited.
shocker.
I mean, I
No,
sometimes the best told story is the most logical one. You don't need
well,
a
yeah, yeah.
swerve.
I'm with you. You're not trying to stress your fans out. Like I think
Yeah.
that we as wrestling fans, like I feel like a lot of what we've been conditioned to get with wrestling, but especially with WWE is just like just stress us out, beat us up, beat us
I
down, like
know.
that kind of relationship with them. But like this is the story that was being told. So many
Mhm.
people, especially looking at social media, the reaction after the fact, so many people were like emotional about the
I'm
win. And I
so
even
excited.
saw
Yeah.
a couple of media scrum interviews after, but one of them was Hangman Adam Page talking about the win and like, I don't know, kind of tearing up at least a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it was an
Mhm.
emotional moment. And so I like that they're giving us this story. I will say beforehand, like on paper, I had my own predictions, even though we didn't do predictions. And like for
Oh
the
yeah.
most part for the show, there's some stuff that, went the other way. But a lot of it was like, okay, this is what we figured, Inner
Yeah,
Circle
exactly.
winning, CM Punk winning, Britt
Yeah.
Baker winning,
Mhm.
some more of that kind of stuff happening. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's, you gotta love when they give you what you want, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
cool when a wrestling
Ye
company gives you what you
Gives you
want?
what you want. I know, right?
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
they could swerve you and hurt your feelings later, but it's nice to feel like a secure relationship with
and I
them.
just want to shout
Yeah.
out Marcus and Puya's Discord, the Less Than Two Crew
Woo!
Discord, for no reason at all. Just
Oh
shout out to
yeah,
him.
I don't have anything to shout you out to.
And if you're not a part of the Less Than Two Crew on Twitch, you need to go join the Less Than Two Crew, which is Puya Zambakili's Twitch stream. Go to twitch.tv/Puya. But other than
Yeah,
that,
no
it was
reason
so
in
great.
particular.
No reason in particular.
Join
Uh,
that.
um,
I just did a big wink, by the way, if anyone was wondering in the audio.
so it was great. We were watching with people, and like the I think
Oh.
my favorite match other than the Hangman Omega match was
Mhm.
Daniel Bryan and Miro like did that, like legit did that shit. So
Yeah.
um yeah, Daniel
Well,
Bryan won. So I was wondering
20.
if that was gonna affect the outcome of the World Championship match since that was the number one contenders
Yeah.
match, but
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan versus Hangman Page,
I
man.
wasn't
That's gonna
expecting
be.
it. I wasn't
Me,
expecting it. But the cool thing is
I thought Miro was gonna.
we've gotten Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega. And so, like, we've seen that match happen on, I guess,
True.
on Dynamite normally. Now there's
Dynamite.
so many shows that I'm like, was it Rampage? Was it
Yeah.
Dynamite? Was it like a different show? But yeah,
Mhm.
I think like it's cool that we're getting that. That was the one I wasn't expecting though, just because like face versus
Face.
face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Mari, if there's a face
Mhm.
versus face feud that you should pay attention to, like I mean, it's probably this one right now in wrestling because like a I don't know how often AEW does face versus face, and like in the case of CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, we saw how
Mhm.
that went, where like Punk definitely became the heel in the situation. But
You're
I
right.
do wonder if they could actually. I just want good face versus face storytelling, and I know it's possible. Like it's not
Maybe we'll
that
see it
unfathomable.
in this coming up
That's what I'm
feud here.
saying.
Yeah. I want to see it.
I do believe that we'll see it because I know
Yeah.
that
It is very hard.
they'll do better than what we normally look
Yeah,
at when we're
we're
saying
used
face
to.
versus face. Yeah.
I will also say the Super Click versus Christian and Jurassic Express was really like that one. Like sometimes I was kind of like drifting off during some of the matches, not going to sleep, but you know, I look at my phone a lot. But like that one and Daniel Bryan, and then of course the main event, like that was pretty good. They were just battling all up and down the like the
All
arena,
over
jumping off
the
the tallest stuff. Like that one was really crazy. I do like when they do stuff like that. So a really good
AEW.
card, solid
Yeah.
card, top to bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what though? Like let us know too if there's if anything stood out to you about this show, if there's anything you'd shout out. The one thing that comes to mind for me, by the way, that I didn't mention as we were talking about Paige, not to be there are so many different like there's Ethan
I know.
Page, Adam Page,
Page, Page.
Page. Oh my god. Give me Page. Just have her show up. You could give her the champion, give her all of the championships. Actually, I don't no, give her the championships. I'm just impressed by her neck. I mean, it's a neck thing. Like if
Mhm.
you come back from a
What
death-defying
was the one thing you
injury,
wanted to say?
oh, I hate you, Mari. You're the worst. Kenny Omega and his injuries. That's the
Oh
big
yes,
story
yes,
that's
yes,
kind
yes.
of circulating now about about how beat up he is. Speaking of injuries and the Page, you know, that's. I hope he's in good shape. But it sounded like there was a shoulder issue. I like people always work hurt, but Kenny Omega's been working so much that
A
what I
lot. Yeah.
understand is
Mhm.
that he's like been or slash being evaluated and like they'll figure out if he'll need time off. I don't care if he needs time off. He should just they should give him time off. Like that should be a
Yeah.
thing in wrestling, that just for people's health, especially for someone like him though, who's such a like one of a kind, truly one of a kind talent.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's able to get the rest that he needs. Maybe Don Callis could fill in and work a few matches and take his spot. Who knows? I would like to
Mm.
see a few more like 60-plus-year-olds working. Wouldn't you, Mari?
Oh. Mm-mm. No, thank you.
Well,
Mm-mm.
okay.
Don't sign me up for that.
My first really bad take of the
Of the
podcast
night.
today, but
First
not the
of
last one.
many.
He's only 58, by the way. He's not 60 yet. Don
All
Callis.
right.
Good to know.
Well, yeah, good to know.
Is it though?
That's that's it about
Yeah.
Full Gear Sound Off. Let us know what you thought about the show.
Yeah.
We're always so keen to hear from you guys. I'm actually
We
like
are.
looking, I'm trying to make sure, see if we have any um any emails or anything. So
Yeah,
this is
we love those reviews that we get when people get back to us. We love those emails that we get. We love those Job Has a Squadcast, JHAS for short, as I just decided to call it. Comments, we love
yes,
the tweets,
what
we
you
love
just
the
said.
hashtag stuff, we love all of it. And
Mhm.
Mari,
Mhm.
you know, you always remind me because I'm forgetful. I always forget where people could find the podcast, where people could comment, where people could hit us up to let us know their thoughts. But like, what do they do, Mari? If people want to talk to us and actually hear our sensual voices responding to their sensual voices, but in writing.
But in writing.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
What else?
gracefully, you can always email us. Send an email to wrestling@RHAPasawebsite.com, or you can use hashtag WrestlingRHAPup on Twitter and tag us at WrestlingRHAPup. Again, on Twitter. And of course, hopefully you are looking at our beautiful, lovely faces here on YouTube at Rob Has a Podcast on YouTube, where you can also leave comments there. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed to our podcast feed, what are you doing here? Go subscribe.
Well, wait,
subscribe at the Wrestling RHAPup podcast feed.
Don't leave.
Please rate, review, subscribe. We love hearing from you. We love some feedback. We love to what?
Mari, rate, review what?
And subscribe.
Rate, review, and what?
Subscribe.
Rate, review. We need a song for this, actually. I feel like we need a soundboard too.
Rate,
review, subscribe. We'll work on it.
We'll be the only two people at Survivor Series. Rate, review, subscribe.
I mean, honestly, just like that. Maybe just like rate, review, subscribe. Well,
ooh,
sorry. Nice. No, this is actually embarrassing because the thing is, we opened the floodgates to the rate, review, subscribe thing. By the way, if you're listening, rate, review, and subscribe. But we opened the floodgate. We're going to work on the song, and in the future, you'll hear the song.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. There's so many people who just turned off this podcast.
I know. They're like, and we're done.
Yep.
And of course, we can always plug the Patreon here too. Might as well. You can find us on the RHAP Patreon. You can go to www.patreon.com/RHAP, where you can get access to exclusive monthly podcasts, Q&As, and Patreon like events. So you'll more often than not find us there chopping it up. There's also a Discord and a Facebook group. Love the Facebook group. Join today, sign up so you can get access to all of that exclusive content.
Yes, that patron life. It's really good. And they're all the shows. It's not just wrestling, Yeah,
it's not just us.
They're the Survivor, people talking about Survivor 41, Big Brother when that's on. Even when it's not on, there's an interview with Asa who was on the season, like literally posted last week. So there's so much different content. Check it out. You could be our friends by being patrons. Sure. Some people say that love doesn't cost a thing, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Right. All right. So let's get into this Survivor Series preview.
Okay.
First up, we'll talk about the Universal Champion Roman Reigns versus the WWE Champion Big E. So, okay. I'm of two minds of the build for this because it feels, I don't know how the build to this kind of feels like lazy and thrown together, but also that it makes a lot of sense. Like it feels like how are we like, it feels like two things because WWE did a really good job. They posted a WWE playlist and you can find all of the highlights and this, including this playlist on our handy dandy our playlist. That was kind of confusing, wasn't it?
Wait, yeah.
We have a playlist. We have a playlist that has all of our highlights on it. On that playlist is the WWE playlist of Roman Reigns versus Big E.
Yeah.
They did the Road to Survivor Series WWE playlist, Roman Reigns versus Big E. It is now on our playlist. But anyways, in that playlist, they did a great job of like plotting Roman versus Big E, and they made it. Yeah, they made it seem like it went all the way back to Survivor Series and not Survivor Series. What SummerSlam? These S's are killing me.
But you know what? Actually, no. When you said that, it made me go because I watched that, of course, and I went back in my head. I'm like, wait, does this go back even further?
Yeah.
Which I mean, it very well might, but I don't think
it kind of does.
Does it go back? Like, where did they?
it goes back to Big E winning Money in the Bank, because you remember Big E was on SmackDown and he won Money in the
Yeah.
Bank, and he spent weeks taunting Roman, because we all thought that Big E was going to be the one to topple Roman. And then they remember we were
Yeah.
speculating on, did they have to change the plans somewhere, because Big E took
Hmm.
it off of Lashley. But even then, remember, like it's in that playlist, Big E kind of came in and crashed SmackDown the night after, when Roman was looking for Brock. Big E
Yeah.
came out and crashed that. And then when the New Day had a celebration, the Usos and Roman crash, or the Usos crashed that. It was that weird time between that brand split. It was just so
Well,
weird.
so yeah, no, I'm with you. I remember that. I just wonder here, you know what I think is going through my head? It's that, like, okay, here's the problem. We've seen the New Day and the Usos kind of have their little trysts along the way over the years. And
Mhm.
but it doesn't, they're not connecting it really back to this feud. Like this feud,
Mm.
and we've
Yeah.
seen it this week, and our clips actually in the playlist that Mari so thoroughly referenced and explained a few minutes ago. The clips overlap. So like there's
Yeah.
there's the feud between obviously Roman and Big E, but then there's also the stuff happening on SmackDown with the New Day and the Usos, but
Yeah.
also Roman. But they're not even like bringing Big E into that, because over on the other
Right.
side we have Big E getting beaten up by the Usos,
Mhm.
and but then RK Bro is involved because there's that Survivor Series match,
Yeah.
and it just feels very, very
It
sloppy.
it feels like that. It's sloppy is a good word for it, but it also feels like they're kind of just tripping and falling into just the great chemistry that
Yeah.
New Day, the Usos, and Roman all have. Like they're just kind of really lucking up here. And I think the
Mhm.
build that they maybe initially were going with the Biggie and Roman stuff is just kind of paying off. And um of course, work Roman and the Usos working over the New Day, working Kofi and Xavier. It makes sense. It makes sense because of their whole the king thing and all of that. But now that they've taken those two out, Big E needed backup, and now that he RK Bro is his backup. Like that, I
Right.
really feel like it feels like there's tripping and stumbling into logical storytelling when they didn't mean to.
No,
Like,
there's no logic though, because like this past week on Raw, what just happened? So Biggie out in the ring, he interacts with Kevin Owens because they're keeping
yes,
that feud going. So Kevin
which is
Owens
great.
walks
Yeah.
to the back. Big E
Mhm.
kind of goes after him, like, I'm gonna get him, and the Usos jump him,
Jump
and
him,
then
yes.
they end up
And they
back in
and
the
they say,
ring.
Roman sends his regards. So I love all of these Thrones references in my wrestling. I'm sorry, keep going.
Sure, sure. And what I will say is that, Mari, this is a wrestling podcast. We can't talk about anything but wrestling. How dare you?
F
We're
that.
yeah. But yeah, so like then Matt Riddle. So okay,
Okay, yep.
Biggie
Please.
is getting assaulted
Yep.
i- in the ring, and nobody comes out to help him. And this is the thing that bothers me, is that we used to see every single year for Survivor Series, if SmackDown invades, the Raw locker room
Yeah,
empties out, or people
very
empty
true.
out, and they'll even be wearing their shirts like, no, this is our brand, we're defending it, that's our champion, we're going to come out and protect him. The only person we got coming out was, for whatever reason, Matt Riddle. And it
Well,
was
we
so
know what
clear
the
to
reason
me,
was.
just so they could set up a tag team match, because
Yeah.
for some reason, I guess Randy Orton was like busy and also couldn't come out at the same time. They had to wait to do that later
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
set up the
I
other
don't know.
the 6-man tag match. So I just kind of felt like it made no logical sense.
Mhm.
But
No, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. It
you're like,
just
I did try to defend them.
I mean, it makes sense now
Yeah.
that we're here, because the New Day can't come out and help Big E because the
They
Usos beat
can.
them. So you might as well, Riddle and
So,
RK Bro
yeah.
might as well come out and help them because those will be their opponents on Sunday. Now, I think what was in the clip that of Randy talking to Riddle?
He
Did
was like,
Randy? Yeah,
something about the fact you were just telling him to like be better, basically, which
yeah,
is
which is
most of what he
what?
says
Yeah.
all the time.
So they were able to bridge the gap to like, okay, now we'll include RK Bro, but it's annoying. But I do like the layers. I don't know. It's really interesting that Big E is getting like he still has Seth to worry about,
Yeah.
KO to worry about, like, and then on top of that, now he also has to face Roman. So to me, I'm like, okay, so are we setting it up so Big E loses to Roman because either KO or Seth come in and mess with him, or red herring? So I don't know. I think we've explained these clips. They are very confusing. Usos
Yeah,
attack
but
Big E.
yeah,
Riddle comes to save Big E, but then Seth Rollins comes out, so then it's Big E versus RK Bro and the Usos.
I don't get why
Yeah,
Randy Orton didn't come out sooner.
yeah, or Seth Rollins just come
Or
out.
anybody. Or
Yeah,
anybody. It's
like
just
Seth Rollins didn't need to come out here. Well, I mean
there's
he did because we
yeah.
needed to be a six man, but there was no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It made sense that he would come out eventually and stick his nose into it. But
yeah,
you know what? I will say that the other thing when I think of Roman Reigns versus Big E is I think of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which you have
yeah.
to mention because there's a chance, probably not a great chance, but there's a chance that we will be as we stand in the Barclays Center on Sunday that we will hear if you smell la, 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 la," and then we will see
Mhm.
him come out and things will happen and it'll be magical and everyone will be excited. There's a chance that that could happen.
There's a
Even though like
chance.
The
I
Rock
want to stalk his Instagram. Where is he right
you
now?
should stock it because, like, what I understand is that The Rock has been talking about WWE a lot lately. I believe Roman might have been on Yes, they had a bunch of people on like the Jimmy Kimmel show or one of those shows. We're not paid
Yeah,
to
he was on
recap
Jimmy.
those,
Yeah.
so
No, we're
something
not.
happened. Who knows? But I understand that The Rock has come up a lot. His return to wrestling has come up a lot. He's even addressed it and kind of downplayed it. So I don't know.
Mhm.
It's interesting that it's come up a lot. Like, why would WWE mention him so much if they're not already talking about plans? I'm not saying that he's going to debut or re-debut at Survivor Series, but I'm just saying it could happen. It's not the least likely time for it to happen.
Exactly. And I think you saying that. Why can I not find The Rock on Instagram? What is
He's
happening?
not. Yeah, he has a really small following, like 10 people or something. It's not. Yeah,
I
no one
know.
follows him.
I
Rock
I know I follow him.
WWE.
I
Oh
was
no
so
no no no.
confused what is happening.
Dwayne Johnson
Yeah,
at
but
The Rock. Mari,
all I'm
look.
seeing
Here's the
is
thing, people.
this is a fan page.
No,
Like
you're
why?
probably on the fake look, Mari. At
Yeah, I'm
The
on a
Rock.
fake fan page.
No, The Rock is on Instagram at The Rock. He has
I don't know if it's at The Rock.
279 million followers.
This has to be great listening for our podcast.
They
Okay,
love
okay, it
it.
is. All right, it
Yeah.
is. I'm actually surprised it's still just The Rock. I was putting in like Dwayne Johnson. I would have thought he would have like changed that. That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
love how his you know what? This is my only problem with The Rock. His entire Instagram bio, other than like being a one of those link tree links to a bunch of other
Oh, he went
things,
to McKinley.
it just says founder. His Instagram bio just says founder. I know he has a
Mhm.
tequila company.
Oh yeah, he does.
I don't know what else
I
he's
can't
founded.
remember the name of the tequila company.
We'll get our
I
hands
want to
on
try.
it.
All right, we need to
Yep.
stop this. But
Do we though?
okay,
Or we need to
I
start
think
that.
I think this is a good segue into our predictions because I think
Yes.
this match in particular is going to
This
be
one.
so shenanigan filled. Like if there's
Mm-hmm.
not at least a shenanigan on a shenanigan on a shenanigan, I feel
Whew.
like I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah,
Like
but I want shenanigans. I want The Rock. I
I
want
need
someone who looks
shenanigans.
like The Rock to show up in like a rock costume and shenaniganify. Like I
I'm
want
just No,
all of the
the
family. I want all of the table to show up. It's
you want everybody. You
Thanksgiving.
want Solo to come up. Like you want
Yeah.
the
Yes,
whole
to go solo.
family tree.
I want them all there. This is Thanksgiving week, and if they're not gonna give us the family around the table, then I'm not gonna be thankful. So
Like I want The Rock to be the cherry shenanigan on the shenanigan Sunday. Like I'm saying, I want the Usos to come out and start beating up Big E. Then I
yeah,
want
yeah,
the
yeah.
New Day to come out and start beating up the Usos. Then
And
I
I
want
want Rikishi to
KO
come
or
out.
Seth.
I want Rikishi to come out, dance with the New Day unexpectedly, then turn
That would
heel, stink face
that'd be
both
so
of them,
cool.
but then have Roman Reigns take out Rikishi because he's like, no, I'm the head of the table, quiche. And then I don't know who else,
Could
but
you
like
imagine?
Nia Jax returns,
What if
Tamina
Roman
runs
Reigns
out,
punched Rikishi in the face in front of his sons?
and but
Dang.
wait, no, watch this. Roman Reigns, Superman punch to Rikishi. Rikishi
Yeah.
stumbles back into the corner, but you have like, but you have like Big E who's sitting in the corner, and so he gets an accidental stink face.
An
Like
accidental
that's what I
thing.
want. Yep, and that's the finish of the match.
And then
No, oh, Rock
I
has
want
to
Seth
show
and
up.
KO to come out at some point. And
Yeah,
then I want The Rock to, like, when you think Roman's like, ha ha, shenanigans. I win again. The Rock comes out. Nope.
I want the Rock to come out, but by the time that he comes out, like everyone's just knocked out, and so he's like coming down. He's ready to lay at the Smackdown just to bring it, and he has his tequila in hand, and he's ready to go. And like everyone's already laid
Everybody's
out, and the
just
match is
he just
over.
walks out.
He's like a little bit too late. I want it.
So
Let's get it.
my
Why
prediction
not?
is
That's not your prediction.
no. Well, that I mean,
Um,
but who
that
wins?
was mostly
Yeah,
mine. Oh, okay,
that
yeah.
was
Who
yeah,
actually
yeah,
wins?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think again, I really think there's going to be heavy shenanigans because I think they do want to protect both Roman and Big E.
yeah.
So my thought process would be, I think Big E wins here. I hope Big E wins. Yeah, due to the Rock other shenanigans and the Rock. I think it would be okay for Roman to lose in this manner to Big E, and it would boost Big E better, but like, you know,
Yeah.
that's what I would want
Yeah.
personally.
Oh, yeah. What you would want and what I would want too. But
Yeah, but I know.
this is easily a situation where I could see you being like, Matt, you were right. And I'll be like, well, it's WWE.
Yep.
So I think what I imagine happening is that, okay, well, let's just say whether or not they're Rock related shenanigans. If the Rock was part of this show, this would definitely happen. But if not, I could still see it happening where Roman wins and Roman takes
Mm-hmm.
the win and he walks out. So I'm predicting Roman because I just feel like they're
No shenanigans.
oh, lots of shenanigans.
Oh.
But of course, but I just still think that he'll get the win because there's Biggie who's kind of on the rise up, and there's Roman who's so established that I don't think it makes Biggie look bad if he loses to Roman. I also
Mm-hmm.
don't think it would make Roman look bad if he lost to Big E. And I'm with you where I would prefer that, but
Mm-hmm.
I just think that WWE this month they've been making bad decisions. So why should
True.
that stop
Yeah.
today?
I'm gonna keep my official prediction as Big E, but I can
Go
definitely
for
see
it.
Roman winning this. I mean, that is kind of the main complaint. Like some people have had with his reign, they're like, "Who am I supposed to believe will beat him?" Which I think in this case could be a good way to give him a loss without losing the
Yeah.
championship, without it seeming like a step down because he's going up against another champion with as many shenanigans as possible. So I think if he's going to lose, this would be the most protected loss that Roman
Yeah.
could take, and then he can continue to dominate until whenever he drops that at WrestleMania or something like that. But
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
just me.
well, I mean, it's a good point. The other thing I would just say too is like the only thing is I can't see Big E standing tall at the end of this pay-per-view, like closing the show. I just
No,
can't
I
I
don't
can't
think
see it in my
anybody's standing
brain.
tall. If it's anybody standing tall, it
The
will
Rock?
probably be The Rock, and everybody else is laid out. Like, you
But
know
I
what I'm
also
saying?
can't see a
Like,
world where Big E wins and then, like, The Rock or someone like I don't know. I just don't see it for Big E, but I would like to see it for Big E. I
I
just don't
think
feel it.
I think again we get shenanigans. I think The Rock comes out, Big E just rolls to the side of the mat, just like
What
keeps his
percent
head down
chance
until
what percent chance is it so maybe, like, maybe there isn't a winner of this match technically, maybe it's just a no contest at the end of the day. But do you think we're gonna get I should say, what percent chance do you think we have of The Rock showing up here?
50-50. It's legit 50-50 to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
they are saying a lot of the whole like he's not coming, he's not coming, he's not coming. So like, I mean, if they are going to keep one of the biggest stars in Hollywood coming to their pay-per-view as a secret, that means they have something storyline wise huge for him, because other than that, his name would be plastered on
Please.
everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, or they could find a way to, like, it's like the Royal Rumble or something else where you could show up where there'll already be a lot of eyeballs on the show. I don't see I believe
I
them.
think
I'll
it's
take their
50-50.
word for it. I'll take their word for
Yeah,
it. I'll say like 49% that he'd show up and 51% that he won't, but
he won't. Yeah,
who
and that's
knows?
fine.
Who
Yeah.
knows? We don't
Okay, so
know.
we don't know. So let's move
We
on
don't know
to the
anything.
SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair versus the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch.
Charlotte.
And Charlotte, Charlotte Flair. They yeah, it's bad. They are really trying. Like, they are like, WWE is stepping on the gas for this match. Again, I don't care. It's okay. I'm gonna watch the match. I'm gonna be reasonably excited when it comes on. I like the two women. Just because I say this, guys, doesn't mean I don't like the two women.
Hmm.
Um, the only thing I'm just saying is, I like, now I think it's overworked, because we talked about last week. I was like, that whole
Yeah.
championship title thing, there was a shoot. Now they have overworked it. It is it is now an overworked shoot, and I don't know
Yeah,
where
sure.
we're going from here, because like and because we got like, they had clips of interview. Charlotte did an interview where she was basically like, people hate me because I'm a bad bitch. I've I've had the most titles, but and because of I'm a
Yeah.
woman, if they don't give John Cena that much flack. Or I heard she
Don't
named
bring
dropped
up John
Cena and
Cena.
Roman, and I'm like, girl, you must not be on the internet, because everybody be giving them flack for everything.
Yeah, do you remember John Cena being booed for most of his career
Yeah.
as a
So
face? Come on.
exactly. So yeah, it's just like it was just, they're really stoking, they're trying to make us feel that the animosity between them is real, which is why I'm like, okay, this is clearly a work. We have Becky, like, they had a shot where somebody asked Becky, like, oh, how do you feel about Charlotte Flair or something like that, and Becky said she's a bitch, like straight up said
I
Charlotte's
was
a
like,
bitch, like
"Girl, that's
on the
imperfect."
TV.
You
Yeah,
it's like
in
this
a
is not that's the moment I knew. I watched that interview.
yeah.
Actually, there have been a few that Becky's
There's
been
been a
doing.
lot interviews,
A lot
yeah.
actually. And I don't here's the thing. I don't believe it. I do believe that they have maybe they're not the closest that they've been. I get that. That
Right.
makes
We've
sense.
talked about
The
that.
the segment going off the rails also makes sense because they've
Mhm.
edited the hell out of that to take out all of the things that definitely were off script, like Charlotte talking over Sonya, Charlotte dropping the championship. That's
Mhm.
wiped from the record as far as we're concerned. So that didn't go well, but they definitely want to capitalize on it.
Yeah, they
And
do, yeah.
the other thing I'll point out is, and this is just too far, like they didn't need to work to work this hard to convince us that it's real. Like Becky talking
Yeah.
about Ric Flair being trash and
Yes.
wasting
Oh
his
my god.
it's like, girl, we know that you don't have a problem with Ric Flair. Like I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you probably said amazing things about working with him before because
Yeah,
they
and
did
did you
work
see what Ric
together a
Flair
bit.
said
What did
about
he
her on
say?
Twitter?
What did he say?
Oh my god, Ric Flair was like, called her ungrateful, said he had given up he had sold the trademark of the man back to WWE so she
Oh,
could use it and all this stuff. And I was just like, y'all, like
I'm exhausted. Just stop trying so hard. We
that's what it
know.
is, and that's what it feels like, and
Yeah.
that's the only reason why, like I said, I'm just not as into this fight is because, like, you're yeah, yeah, you're forcing it. You're trying to force it, and
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be Becky and Charlotte do good fights. I'll be surprised. I'm kind of surprised that they don't put a stipulation on this because to me, the only times that I've been really interested in a Becky Charlotte match is when there's a stipulation. Like I do not care for their pure one-on-one matches. And I was at Survivor Series in 2018 when Becky, it was
Ooh.
supposed to be Becky versus
Oh, what's her name? Rhonda?
Rhonda. Yeah, but then Charlotte, it had to be Charlotte versus Rhonda. And I will tell you live that match was trash. Like the beginning, like most of that match was trash.
Not a good
The audience,
match. Not a great
the
match,
crowd was
even.
dead. No, exactly. The crowd was dead. It was like they did not have any real chemistry at that point, and people only got invested in it once the weapons came out, like
Well,
the kendo sticks and stuff.
they didn't have time to practice. And I mean
They did it.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like I actually really loved Ronda's run in WWE because I
Yeah.
felt like they did what they should always do with everything, which is practice the hell out of it so that it actually comes off really well. Like Rhonda,
Right.
if you were just a casual fan watching, you're like, wow, Rhonda. I'm sure if we search Twitter, Ronda Rousey, greatest pro wrestler ever, is probably tweeted by like thousands and thousands and thousands of people because they practiced. But that match was just
Mhm.
off for obvious reasons. Didn't have time to prepare because they
They
didn't know
didn't.
that
Yeah.
Becky would be out with, I think, I mean, I know there was the bloody nose, and broken
Uh,
nose, but like concussion,
orbital.
orbital
No, 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 no.
bone,
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. You're right. It
or
was a
maybe it was a concussion.
concussion and a broken nose. It was concussion and a broken nose. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look at
You're right.
Becky going over the top, really to
Mhm.
just sell for Nia Jax. Oh, aren't by Nia? Another person is gone
Yep.
now.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying, like I don't know. I'll be there. I have low expectations, so that's good for them. It might be match of the night. People are saying it's the main
I,
event.
I have high
Sure.
expectations only. Well, it depends what we're asked, what we want. But when I say I have high expectations, I have high expectations that they're gonna work a very intense, aggressive match. It
Mhm.
might come off as kind of sloppy and shoot ish,
Ugh.
which but yeah, that's the thing that I think will probably throw me off watching this match
Right.
is that it's like, okay, we know that like you don't hate each other, like just work a match, like work a really good match, like we get, you don't need to, it
Right.
doesn't need to be a fist fight is what I think. I
Exactly.
could just picture how they'll start the match out, like, and I hope that they don't do it where it's like ring the bell and then they go at each other swinging and swinging and swinging and end up on the outside and just keep hitting each other until like the kendo sticks and other things come out. But
I think that yeah, and that's another thing. Like Becky is
I might get there.
she is one of the greatest technical women's wrestlers, especially in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I like her matches. That's why I definitely liked her matches with Bianca because
Mm,
and Sasha,
yeah.
of course. Whew, Jesus, her and Sasha. It's just like it's so good and she's so technical. And I love best when people are trying to escape her technical style or
Yeah.
it's counter for counter for counter. Like I love a good Becky match where literally it's her and the other person just countering each other the whole time. That's what I think of when I think of Becky Lynch matches. And her and Charlotte just don't do that because Charlotte is not she's more of a ground and pound. She's a powerhouse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's just not the same. It's not the same technical wise. So, and then on top of that, if this work shoot is so work shooty, they hate each other so much, then getting into our predictions, not who's gonna want to lose this, who's gonna want to get pinned, and I this is why I
Yeah.
want to see, yeah, this is why I want to see the end of this
Damn.
match because right now, because of all of the backstage stuff, because of what we saw with Bianca and what's going on with Sasha and how like it just feels like they came back and they just kind of we've always had this thought process of you know, more Charlotte, but we're now seeing it with Becky. It just seems like they are unwilling to do the job. This is just perception. This is not reality, people, but this is
Ooh.
what it's been slowly looking like, and I've been talking about it for weeks now. So if you, again, you have two champions that aren't willing to do the job for regular people, how are they going to do the job for either of them? And what does that look like? And
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, what does it look like going forward? You know, because
exactly.
Charlotte jokes about it in her promos. It has to be a joke because I know she doesn't truly believe it, like that she's the star maker, but historically she has not been a star maker. Becky, I don't
Ooh.
know. Like, yeah, like it
Here's
didn't work
what
with Lacey Evans. Like Becky couldn't make Lacey Evans. So okay, go Matt, because I'm done. Like I'm just ranting at this point.
no,
I'm just ranting
I
at this
just
point.
froze for a second when
I'm
you
trying
mentioned
not
Lacey
to.
Evans because I'm like, yeah, I
Think of,
vaguely
you
remember
know,
that. I vaguely
Becky's
remember that they did something.
that what do you mean you vaguely remember? They feuded for 4 months and
No,
nothing came of
Becky
it.
and
It was
Lacey.
so Becky and Lacey feuded for 4 months
When
from
did
the
this happen?
from the basically from the time she got the title until what was it, like
Oh,
Clash of the Champions. Her and Lacey fought all summer.
look,
All
I
summer.
blocked that out because
Exactly.
it wasn't good. Just like I'm gonna block out the. I wish I could block out the Charlotte Lacey stuff, but that's a whole other
Yeah.
story. Yeah, this is my thing. Like, and you brought up this point, which I think is amazing. This is actually the one match where I don't have a prediction because to me, it doesn't make sense for either one of them to pin the other from a lot of perspectives. Like,
Right.
if I'm, I think what WWE should do here somehow is make sure that I think the best choice is to be sure that there's not a winner, that this is some kind of no contest test or some
Unfortunately.
kind of scrub finish because the moment that, and you alluded to this, the moment that Becky gets pinned by Charlotte and is down for the 1, 2, 3, or the moment that Charlotte is pinned down for the 1, 2, 3, it's like, okay, that's a work, right? I mean, I could see a world where they go for like some kind of really corny screw job finish, which I hope they don't do, but
Mm.
I don't know how
This
they'll
was
get out of this. And I also like I honestly don't know if I the more that we get closer to it, the less I care, to be honest.
exactly. And I think this would have been a good match to have a time limit on and just let them wrestle to the time limit.
Yeah.
Um, but
By the
so
way, great thing, I'll just say, like, that's one thing about AEW that they do
AW
a lot is they
really
just
good.
like build in some of these real rules like time limits,
Mm-hmm.
and they care about wins and losses where they have like the ranking system, which I
Yep.
always forget about, but actually is consequential. And
And
it's
again,
like,
not mhm.
yeah, no, it's
I
just
was just gonna
nice
say,
that they
and
go for it.
not even the ranking system, but once the ranked opponent is set for a match, they then do another tournament to
Yeah,
determine the next number one contender, which just
exactly.
makes so much sense. We're about to go on a tangent here
No, but it's a
because
good tangent because it's
it's a
like
good, yes,
it makes it so much more it makes everything make so much more sense. It makes it so much
sense.
more believable. It's not like
Exactly.
we basically never talk. I can't think of one time that we've talked about AEW's writers and their decisions
Well, they
because
don't
a lot
have,
of it, I mean, yes, of course there's
and we
writing and like
do.
all of that stuff and it's a whole
Mhm.
different company from WWE, but like the logic is there and it doesn't leave you again like feeling like your intelligence is being insulted, which again this is another situation where it
Yeah.
kind of feels like if they just went into the match without all the interviews, I mean it would have been smart in my mind, for instance, if they said to all of the interviewers, you can't ask Becky or Charlotte about each other, like you can't say anything about them, you can't ask any questions about them, like somehow if they were just like don't bring up the
Yeah.
drama,
That
that to me would have made it
would be
even
more
more real.
intense. That is so
Yeah,
true. You're
but like
right.
why are we
You're
writing
totally
show
right.
we we're right about so much so many like it's
That's
not
so much
rocket
truer.
science, it's not rocket
If it
science.
was like, "Hey Becky, what do you think about Charlotte?" Next question.
She's like, I
Like,
can't. Or no, like someone
like
off camera is like, pops in like, no, sorry, go next question. Don't, no, sorry. Like that would be it. That's what we want. Come on, give us the fire. We need to start our own
Yeah.
wrestling promotion.
I know. Can we
Get
try
bed.
and hire all of those people who got
Yeah. We'll get Becky in there too, and we'll just rebook Becky and Charlotte will rebook the storyline. Awesome.
So
I said
we said all that's to say I think it's gonna
Yes.
end in a no contest or something. I think
Me too.
if I had to like literally write it, I think it
No.
ends in
Yeah,
like a no contest. I think it ends in a no contest with like this is how I would do it. I would have Becky, it'd be like a callback to the Rhonda match. Have Becky hit her with the kendo stick. You know what I'm saying? Like that'd be a cute callback to the match. Now, do I think Becky would need to resort to that? No. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. But I think it would be like, oh, I got you before you could get me type of situation.
But could you imagine if Brooklyn really, really, really mattered to WWE as much as it should? Like, because when I think of Brooklyn, I think of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I think of Bayley and Sasha and their iconic matches in NXT. And it would be nice to see the other two horsewomen have an iconic match if they could at that level.
They had it at Evolution. That people love that Evolution match.
That was in Long Island. That wasn't in
it wasn't Long Island, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, so you're just saying specifically for Brooklyn?
It's specifically in Brooklyn, just to give us some.
But this is why, God, again, I don't even want to get into this. But this is why
lay down on the wrestling RHAPup couch and we'll talk about it. I'll put on my.
You mean die on this hill? You mean? But I will die. I will die on this hill. The reason why I will always think that Sasha versus Bayley is the greatest women's match ever until like something else comes along is because they did what they did without it needing a stipulation. Like Becky and Charlotte at Evolution, the last woman standing match, got the same rating, the same Dave Meltzer rating as the Sasha and Bayley's Brooklyn match, but I just don't respect it as much because Bayley and Sasha told the story within the ring, using their bodies, using the last however many months of story build, using Izzy. You know what I'm saying? And I think I've said this on the podcast before, but I just respect when you can make a match out of something more than like just relying on the crutch that is a disqualification match or a street fight or whatever.
Literally, they had didn't they have a crutch at some point in that match? They did.
Well,
I don't know. They had something. Was there a knee brace, an arm brace, something? They were so good. They were so good. You have to love it. Love them.
I need to rewatch that match.
If I had to book the finish of this, I am totally in agreement of a no contest again because I don't have a prediction for this one on the piece of paper. I think that that we're gonna see 3 masked figures come out from the crowd. And they're going to be dressed a lot like the Shield, except with black ski masks. And they're going to tear them off, and it's going to be Sasha Banks, who's in there tearing up the ring, beating them down. It's going to be Bayley with the other ski mask, and Izzy's going to be in the 3rd ski mask. And that's going to be her debut.
Stop it.
And everyone's going to be really mad that she's wrestling, but she's going to hit a shooting star press to end the segment. And that's my prediction.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I've been right before.
Okay. Next up, we have Team Raw. This is the men's Team Raw, which is Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Austin Theory now, Bobby Lashley versus Team Smackdown, Drew McIntyre, Xavier Woods, Jeff Hardy, Happy Corbin, and somebody to be announced. So
yes, a blue. It looks like the Invisible Man right now,
right?
In the little graphic that they have here. This is I talked about this last week, by the way. I talked about last week with the different teams, and I think this was mostly in reference to the women's team and the changes that were happening there. But like, we got a team over the weekend on Twitter, and then it changed again. And I think maybe the team, it's changed again, I think, since then. but I don't even know
For the women
anymore.
or for
Honestly,
the
for
guys?
all of these
All of them,
teams.
yeah.
But this one changed because at one point we were going with the storyline that the Raw team needed to have all these former world
All these
champions.
champions,
This
yes.
past week we had that match that took place
Bobby
between
Lashley.
Bobby Lashley and Rey Mysterio. For whatever reason, Lashley taps out Rey to the Hurt Lock, and then out of nowhere, Adam Pearce, who was so concerned about having world champions in the match, decides that Rey isn't. What does Adam Pearce
Isn't
have a
fit.
problem with the Mysterios? Is my question.
Right. Like,
It's very
is
like
Adam Pearce a
giving me
hater?
Naomi Sonya
Some of the
energy here for
tease,
no
yeah.
reason at all.
Yeah, yeah, it did make sense. So Bobby, of course, Rey Mysterio wanted
Yeah.
to kind of avenge Dominic, but he found himself in the Hurt Lock. Adam Pearce was like, "Oh, you're hurt, so let's get him out of here." Then Austin Theory comes and beats up Dominic, and he's like, "Oh yeah,
I
that's
like
the
your
fire I
style,
want to
kid.
see. Let's
Yeah.
add Austin Theory to the team." Negro, I thought Austin Theory is not a champion. I mean, I'm so annoyed. Like, I'm just so annoyed.
I
Why do
am
it like
too.
this? Why do it like this? Just give us matches for you to get on the team. Like something.
Well,
I don't
but
know.
like logically, just to put the logisticals into it, you don't need to. Why is Adam Pearce supposed to be the heel here? Like,
Right. What is going
we
on with
don't
Adam
care.
Pearce?
Are you trying to get him over as a heel or build up his heel? This is so. I feel like growing up. I'm so frustrated right now.
Yeah.
Growing up with wrestling, I remember all the times where, as a super fan, I would listen to all the shoot interviews, read the dirt sheets, watch all the shows, and the thing that people would always say is like, fans could book it from the couch. Jim Cornette, his big thing is like, if you go to Subway, you're not going to tell them how to make a sandwich. They know how to make a sandwich better than you. I don't know what the hell his obsession with Subway sandwiches was. My point being, the philosophy was always the fans don't know best. The wrestlers know better. You are not the professional, so you don't have the best takes. Tons of
I got
fans
that.
Tons of fans have the best takes on what to do, and it's frustrating because this makes no sense.
I get what
No
he's
sense.
saying, but that analogy doesn't make sense because you literally go to Subway and can tell them how to make your sandwich. I'm confused. Like,
I don't know. Maybe it was like
right? Like, am
a
I
sponsorship or
tripping?
something. Maybe it was an ad. He's like, you can't make sandwiches as good as they do at Subway.
Does
Eat
he mean
fresh.
physically making the sandwich, like putting the meat on the bread? Because
Use
other than that,
use my coupon for 10% off of your $5
okay,
coupon. Who cares
yeah.
about?
So
Yeah,
that's
but
the Raw men's side. So the Raw men's side, like Bobby Lashley done taking 2 people off the team by himself,
and we saw
which good for
Kevin
him.
Owens and Finn Balor face off this week.
Yeah.
And there's and like we know the drama between KO and Seth Rollins. So this is a very dysfunctional team.
Right. Exactly.
And maybe a boring team based on the
Yeah.
but to go
I'm
on
so
to the
tired.
SmackDown team, Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King Xavier, and Mystery Invisible Man and
Mystery
Baron
Invisible Man.
Corbin. This team seems more cohesive, seems like they could get along. They're all faces that, I don't see anything
Corbin.
that's, well, I mean, in my heart, he's a face.
Ew, what? Why? No, not Happy Corbin. Sad Corbin was a face. Happy Corbin is not a face.
He's not, well, it's the transitive property of when he was sad, we liked him more. And because of that time, in my mind, he's a bumbling fool, but he's our bumbling fool, and that's what I like.
Yes.
That's why
maybe
I
it's
think
just because I don't like Madcap Moss.
No, he's not fun. He's not fun.
Yeah. His dad jokes aren't even like they're like horrible jokes, and they're not even funny horrible jokes.
He's not,
like they're not funny horrible jokes.
No.
And if the joke is for him to be telling horrible jokes, it's not funny.
No, it's not. But also, it's just I mean, it's funny to me that they're not like, oh, just put him on the team because he's there already.
And watch they do that. And it's just gonna be, I'm just gonna be upset.
You mean we're not
Watch
getting
them do that.
Batista here? Or
No.
who else?
I want to see.
Mick
We have the
Foley?
Raw men's roster
Or in New
somewhere
York. Who
here.
else? Listeners, tell us who else from New York? What legends from New York would you love to see as the fifth person? They're gonna give us something so anticlimactic, and I am not
Exactly.
looking forward to it. Like
Exactly.
literally the star power in this match. No offense, Austin Theory, because I am
All of
kind
him.
of glad that he's in this spot because it just gives him a chance to potentially shine, even though I don't see that
Hmm.
happening. Like they're gonna give us like I don't even want to put out a name because I don't want to offend anybody who's a jobber, but they're gonna give us someone who's kind of closer to jobber status than like a Rey Mysterio type.
So on SmackDown, the men on SmackDown that we like know of, minus Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre,
Yeah,
Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Happy Corbin, Madcap Moss, no Swerve, no Top Dollar, no Shanti. Wow, I'm looking at the draft. We have our draft notes, and it's just like half these people are gone.
yeah,
Nakamura, Rick Boogs, they'll be in action
busy.
tonight. So maybe Sheamus, maybe like so Sheamus isn't really doing anything.
Sheamus had I don't know if Sheamus re-injured his nose.
Oh,
That sounds familiar
is that
though.
still not a work?
I
I
don't know
don't
if that was a
know.
work or a shoot from I'm this is how you work yourself into a
So
shoot.
yeah.
You don't know the truth. But
So
it
maybe
could be
we
him.
so maybe the shame so it looks like the viable options that aren't if we're saying it might not be Madcap Moss is Sheamus,
Mhm.
Cesaro,
Yeah,
Mustafa,
sure.
um
What's Sami Zayn doing?
Mansoor. Sami
No,
Zayn
Sammy
got
was kicked
taken
off the
out.
team.
Yes. He's
Like literally still have the spot open and somehow they took him off of the team.
right.
Huh.
Mace,
Interesting.
maybe
No,
Jinder
don't do
or
that.
Shanky. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, put Shanky
So,
in. Man, you know what's so sad? I was on Twitter the other day and I think it was Shanky. I looked at Shanky's Twitter and I was like, "Damn, you have like 3,000 followers."
mhm.
Or something like that. Yeah, I just am always so fascinated.
All
Whatever.
right. So predictions are I mean Raw does seem to have like the main people that is their whole like upper mid card on that team. Um
What's your
so
prediction?
this is hard.
I'll give you
Uh,
mine first if
okay,
you
yeah,
want.
yeah, yeah. You go. Yeah, yeah.
My prediction is that Team SmackDown will win here
Yeah.
because when I look at this, I see. Let me just pull up our fancy graphic. So I see drama between Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth Rollins as the captain is kind of a
Mhm.
tell. Like he's not a team. He's not the most cohesive captain
Mhm.
slash coach slash whatever. But like I don't see him gelling really with anyone on his team particularly well,
Mhm.
especially with KO. So I see that imploding there. You know, who knows what Lashley is going to do other than what he wants to do. So
Mhm.
I don't see that working out. Finn, I feel so sorry for, but because he was so hot like 2 months ago and
Yeah.
completely cooled off, but we just saw him take that loss
That
to Kevin
loss.
Owens.
Yeah.
So maybe that there's some tension there. So that team sounds chaotic to me. On the other end, I'm with you in terms of the star power, but like Drew, Jeff Hardy, Xavier Woods, Corbin, I could see them working together for the win. I don't see them
Yeah.
self-destructing in any way because they haven't built up any indication that that team would self-destruct. And it is a pretty stacked team between
Exactly.
Drew, Jeff Hardy, who I mean, we know his history and like
Yeah.
how much of a star he is and can be. And then obviously Xavier Woods is on the rise. And I think maybe technically has been on a little bit of a winning streak, even if it's been through like DQs and other
Mhm.
sketchy stuff. So I feel good about the SmackDown team.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Raw team. I think because they have so much
Ooh.
built up and all that
Yeah.
tension, and they're making Lashley look like a beast.
Hmm.
I think they'll defeat the SmackDown team. I think at the very least, Drew might be the last man standing on his team before they do some heels, because that's another thing. Raw is men's are completely heels, like you said,
Yeah.
and SmackDown are completely good guys. So I could see the heels just doing heel things and winning. So I'm gonna go the men's team Raw on this.
I think, and I would add that maybe rather than Drew being the last one standing on SmackDown, if it goes the way that you're saying, I think Xavier Woods, that would be a great spot to
That
see
too.
Xavier Woods in. Just
Yeah.
like the Iron Man. I don't know if it's the Iron Man. I guess that's a Royal Rumble term, but kind of functioning as the Iron Man in this match and just
Yeah.
lasting and fighting until he can't anymore could be a good spot for him. So we'll see
Mhm.
what they do with these
Oh my
people.
gosh. Why have we I've been looking at that graphic for so long, and I just realized that was Jeff Hardy's hand in front of Xavier Woods' hand. I was like, why is Xavier standing like that? Okay, whatever. But like you see, I was like, why is Xavier standing like this?
Oh my gosh.
That's so random.
You
Why would you
really
put
can't
Jeff's
tell
hand
though.
right there? That is so
And
funny. Oh
his
my
hand looks
gosh.
huge in that.
Yeah, it's like they like forced his hand in there, and it wasn't until I was like, wait, Xavier Woods does not have tattoos on his hand.
Zoom in really close. I mean, it looks pretty good though. I'd rather see that as Xavier Woods' hand rather than
Yeah, that's what
Jeff
I'm
Hardy's.
saying. And so hopefully,
Wow. Good
go watch
job.
our YouTube video to see what we are describing here. Okay, Matt. Okay. Not the all right.
All
So
right, we
next
love it.
up, we have
Yep.
the women's traditional Survivor Series
Yep.
elimination match. Team Raw is Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Zelina Vega versus
Yep.
Team SmackDown, which is Sasha Banks, Shotzi Blackheart, Shayna
Mm-hmm.
Baszler, Natalia, and
Woo.
Tony Storm. The recently announced Tony Storm. So we talked about it last week how Sonya Deville said that she removed Aaliyah from the team, and at first we didn't know who was going to go on the team, but it was just
So
randomly announced
disrespectful.
middle of the week that Tony Storm was added to the team. So
What were they
that's
thinking? Were they just
yeah,
like they're like we I don't under I don't under You know what? Okay, I think I know maybe what they were thinking. And I don't agree with it, but like maybe they want people to actually pay attention to their social media because of news. This is not big news though.
mm,
Like no one's going to follow because they're like, "Oh, Tony Storm was added." You'll just find out when you watch SmackDown. And
right.
by the time that SmackDown's over, it'll probably change again and end up as Naomi on the team. So
I
like
mean,
what see
right.
I don't this is so wild. Thank you for running through who's on the team.
Mhm.
Are you just in general, are you like excited to see any of these people competing at Survivor Series? How are you feeling about this
I
match?
actually am. Actually excited about this match. This match made me realize how deep the SmackDown women's roster is. Like it really is. Like you could. I was actually kind of sad Aaliyah was taken off the team because I thought
Yeah.
it could have been a good
Same.
showing for her and she could be the first pin. And then like you
Mhm.
said, Naomi's not even on here, but I'm glad Tony's on here. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's a pretty stacked roster. The Raw women, on the other hand, no, I'm just playing. I like
I mean, no, you're not playing.
like I like the Raw
I
women and all
Yeah.
that too. I just think I'm gonna be looking forward to a lot of I think I'm gonna be looking forward to a lot of matchups here. Um I would not be surprised if they pull like a swerve and like
Mm.
Bianca goes out
Not a
fairly
swerve.
early. Yeah,
Not a
because
swerve.
it's just kind of sucks because Bianca should have been the lone survivor last year, when they messed around with her and they let Lana,
Sure.
I think she had a great showing at Survivor Series last year in order for her to be the lone survivor. So I don't think they'll run it back again this year. I think it'll be something like scandalous that takes her out.
No, she better get kayfabe injured in this match and to be taken out that way. Like maybe she twists her ankle because I just need, or I don't know, or maybe on her way down to the ring, you know, she like slips or trips on her braid, and then that's what takes her out. Because I don't, there's no world where I want her being pinned in this match.
Yeah.
We don't need that. She doesn't need that right now, especially. But she's like clearly the star. Like if you are
she's on the
looking
front of the
at
poster,
WWE,
yes.
she's literally on like her left bicep and tricep and like the whole shoulder region. They're popping on this graphic because she's Bianca
Very
Belair
much.
and she's out front. Even Sasha right behind her. She's kind of in the shadows. She's in the shadow, literal shadows.
That's how you
Sasha's in the
make a
literal shadows.
star.
That is.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
but like don't get her pinned. This match is, in my mind,
I don't know, man.
how I see this going, and I'll just throw out my prediction.
Please.
I think that Team SmackDown will win here because if I break it down, look, they do have on Raw, they have Bianca, they have Liv. I don't know how Bianca's going to be taken out of this match. But I do see Liv potentially being the last one remaining because there is that whole dynamic with Becky, where she's like, okay, I could do this. I'm good enough. And there was some specific line she said, actually, you know what? We kind of have like a dual storyline where Liv has kind of said has to prove to Becky that she's not underperforming, but also Tony Storm randomly last week had her whole thing with Charlotte about not being worthy of the shot. So she also has something to prove. I see a world though where Liv fights, she quote unquote underperforms even though she's in the match the longest, and Becky could clown her on that even though she'll have a strong losing performance. That's what I'm thinking. But wait, the thing I was saying more about these teams is that number one, there's the conflict and the tension. So we have Liv and Zelina, who are definitely a tag team now. Rhea and her partner Nikki Ash obviously don't gel with these two. We saw this.
Carmella and Zelina. You said Liv and Zelina. You mean Carmella and Zelina are a tag team?
That's exactly what I meant. Carmella. Yeah. See, look, you know what it is. But even then, like Carmella and Liv had that tension between them. There's just so much aggression between these women on these teams. But the thing that's weird to me is the fact that Nikki ASH was not on the team. And like, I think that just leads to a less cohesive team, which to me just sets them up to lose.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you're right. Like you would automatically assume that your two women, like your tag team champions would be on the
and former women's champions.
Yeah, so if that's the case, technically Carmella shouldn't be in this match because
that's what I said.
Yeah, because you know you have to push your solo stars, Bianca and Liv, and then you put the tag teamers on the on the team, and then you got to go with Queen Zelina because if you don't put her on there, then what was the point of her winning that tournament? So
exactly. I mean, well, like just to talk through, Doudrop has her attitude issues currently. Doudrop could take out Bianca.
That's how Bianca gets taken out.
I could see that. I could also see a world where actually that would make the most sense. And actually
that could be it.
She could be taken out before the match. Or Sasha. These are all of the possibilities. Either any of the things we mentioned happen to Bianca or Sasha somehow pins her. But no one else is going to be able to take out Bianca without it looking kind of bad. So, and then on the flip side, I would say, I know I'm talking a lot, but I love these dynamics in this match. So, you know, Toni Storm has to prove something to Charlotte because apparently she's the next challenger. Shotzi just turned, so she's just on that hot streak. Natty's there, you know. Shayna, she's had her little rough streak. I miss the fact that she hasn't been like stomping on people's elbows. I don't know what happened to that.
She did. She did last week. She stomped on Naomi last week in that 3-on-3.
Not on the steps.
Oh no, not on the steps though. No,
I missed the step gimmick. And then Sasha. So I think that Team SmackDown I want them to take the win maybe because I kind of feel like they needed a little bit more.
Yeah, we're getting Sasha versus Shotzi tonight on SmackDown. So I can't wait for that. The last time
But
that they were
yeah,
fighting was when it was Shotzi and Tegan. Sorry, Tegan, versus
yeah.
Sasha and Bailey. So yeah, and they seem to have good chemistry
Yeah.
there, so this is gonna be good. So I agree. I think the SmackDown women's team takes it. I wouldn't mind if like some of the Raw girls come and like beat up the other Raw girls. Like I think Zelina and Carmella are getting up out the paint of this match like really quickly. Like I think they're gonna be the first two falls or something to that effect.
Zelina and
And
Carmella.
yeah, Zelina.
I
That's it.
don't
Yeah,
know.
Zelina and Carmella.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That's what
I
I
I
heard.
think it's gonna I think it's gonna come down to Rhea, Bianca, and Liv. And I think Liv will be, like you said, the sole survivor for her team, the survivor for her team. But I could I could definitely see each one of these matches, these eliminator matches, have it where the other team has like 3 or 4 people on it while the one team gets decimated.
Why do I feel like I just want to? I keep coming back to Bianca. I just want to see her get her ass kicked by Dewdrop like royally, and just
In a
because.
good way. Yes.
Well, in a good way, in the
Yeah.
yeah, well, no, in the sense that like obviously that's the excuse for Bianca to not be. I just don't want to see Bianca
Mhm.
get buried,
Yeah,
and
pinned again.
her
Yeah,
getting
I agree.
like. There's no world where she should be pinned unless shenanigans. So let's hope
Mhm.
that Dewdrop's in there because just the whole storyline and her being a heel now is just it has potential. We talked about this a little bit last week,
Mhm.
so we'll kind of see where they take it.
Yeah,
But
I'm
so
excited. I
yeah,
am
so
very much excited because I do
yes.
love all of these women, so this could be good.
What did you say your prediction for this
Yeah,
one?
I said Team SmackDown as well.
Okay, on the
Yeah,
same page with that one.
yeah.
Good, they did a good job. I mean, they'll do a good job. Uh, but yeah,
All right.
that's gonna be a fun one to watch live because we're gonna be there.
All
What's up
right, and then
next?
yes, we will be live. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, the last two that really have they have not cared at all, really. Um,
Hey.
let's do so the Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura
Wednesday.
with Rick Boogs in his
Oh
corner
yeah.
versus
Okay.
US champion Damian Priest. Like this one, there's no build, guys.
Where's Priest been? Where's
There's
he
no
been?
build. Yeah, where is Priest been? The only thing that can make me like super excited, like what would make sense for this match would be for Bad Bunny to be in Damian Priest's corner. Bad Bunny, rapper, Damian Priest's corner, Rick Boogs on his guitar, Shinsuke Nakamura corner. That's what they should
or
be building.
or I like that. See,
Hmm.
that's a good surprise. That would be a good
But
twist here. But
it
it would
would.
also be kind of dumb. It would be kind of dumb because there was no build for the match, and also Nakamura is still a face, and it's kind of weird. You know what I thought you were going with though with that, which is just where
What?
my mind went for the first time, was what if Rick Boogs turns on Nakamura
Oh my
and
god, please no.
leaves him to join Damian Priest
Well, he can't do
because
that,
Priest has like his whole rocker-ish thing.
but they're on
Uh
different brands.
Boogs, who cares? Boogs could do whatever he wants, right?
I would legit cry if Rick
I
Boogs
would be a
turns on
little
Shinsuke
upset too, but
Nakamura.
like I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked because I
I
just because
know, because
we said it.
WWE
But
loves doing that. They do
yeah,
love doing that. I hate
yeah.
that.
They
I hate
do
that
they
for
could
us.
fit together. They could fit together.
Yeah.
I just don't think like I like that Boogs has like his little ponytail, his little sweatband, his little all of his he's just so fun to watch. But yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do here. I wonder what they're
Yeah,
gonna do. But I
exactly.
don't but
And
there's a difference between wondering what they're gonna do and caring what they're gonna do. I'm not there.
yeah, two separate things. I agree. I think that Bad Bunny thing would have been great, but there's no way
Yeah.
you have Bad Bunny show up surprise. You
No.
again, you have to bill him so you get the
Mm.
eyes on it. Yeah, so that
And
yeah,
I
that
mean, if you're
sucks.
gonna have him show up, like it's one thing to have him in the corner, but the thing is, he performed so well in the ring that I almost feel like it needs to like he come back and be in the corner, but it needs to eventually build to his in-ring return because he stunned
Mhm.
everybody. I don't even know if honestly, it would be a really horrible time for Bad Bunny to come back because
Yeah.
they would be referencing the Miz Morrison match, which just would be
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
awkward. And one, because
Very
Miz
much.
isn't around, but for obvious reasons, because
Yeah.
Morrison was released. So yeah, I
You're
don't know if we're
right.
gonna. We might not even hear Bad Bunny's name mentioned
All right.
during this
Predictions
show.
on this. I think
Priest.
Priest. I think so too. I think he needs it because they
Yeah.
have not done anything with him. So he definitely needs the win.
Yep. And
Nakamura.
just got pinned last week by
Oh, yeah.
Los
Los
Lotharios, by
Lotharios,
Angel and Umberto. And
which doesn't
so
make sense.
no, that
Mm.
seems very
That doesn't even
unnecessary
make sense.
actually.
They're not
But I
even
don't but they
oh
did
god.
okay, but we did our podcast last week
Yeah.
and we recorded it on Saturday,
Yeah,
right?
we did. Yeah.
So that means that this happened. They didn't announce this match. This match wasn't announced. So maybe they didn't
Right.
even know that they were going to be doing this match when they had Nakamura take the pin, because to me that makes
No sense.
absolutely no sense.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Nobody knows. Sad
Damian
times.
Priest. And then
Yeah.
finally, the Raw Tag Champions RK Bro versus the SmackDown Tag Champions, the Usos. Again, a story that we at least this got build. We had no build for the previous storyline, so at least this
True.
got a week's worth, a day's worth of build. So Usos. I think you go Usos because we got that
Yeah.
little exclusive of Randy Orton try to give Matt a pep talk or something. I don't know what that really was. So I
Yeah.
think Matt Riddle takes the pin here.
Sure. Yeah, and
And
maybe
it
there's
just
some
some no
tension,
cohesion.
headbutting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start maybe the seeds
The
of that.
start.
The
Yeah.
other thing though that I thought of with this is that the problem with the bloodline right now is that anytime the Usos lose, it's a story. Like it needs to be like if the Usos lose here, then Roman's in a position where he has to probably have a promo where he's like, you lost, you disappointed us.
Oh,
And to me, that's just so
yeah.
old.
It
Like,
is very
are they gonna
yeah.
keep going back to that? Well, every single time that the Usos lose, because that's what they've been doing. So in my mind, it kind of paints WWE into a corner where
Yeah.
because you need Roman to care. Unless Roman loses too, like maybe that's a world where he's like, I don't care about the fact that you lost, I lost. But otherwise, I just feel like the Usos can't lose unless they're gonna end up making a big deal out of it, or Roman's gonna end up calling it out. So I would say that the Usos win here. Why not?
Same.
Why
Yeah,
not?
why not? Yeah, okay, bro. I feel like they have to be building towards the destruction, right? Well, like I don't know. I don't
They
care.
just came together too, right? I mean, 3 months, 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
It feels
So
like it's been forever
it's
ago.
about that time in the WWE life cycle where they break
Life cycle.
up.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, the season's changed. It went from July, where it was like 90 degrees, to now being 40. And that means when WWE sees that weather change, they're like, okay, we're going to break up some tag teams.
We're gonna
Fire
break up some
people.
tag team.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's
All right.
probably true. So
So we both got the Usos on that.
the Us, yes.
The
So
Usos, the
Usos, Jiminy Uso,
James Uso.
So we only really, like, in our predictions, disagreed on potentially like the Roman Reigns Big E match.
Yeah.
And then we agreed
The
on
women,
Becky and Charlotte. We
the
agreed with this
men.
Usos match. I think we both agreed that Team Smack. Did we agree that Team Smack? No, we disagreed on that. You think that
disagreed on the
Team
men.
Raw men will win?
Yeah,
I
I
think
do.
that the SmackDown, but we agree on
The
everything else.
women. Yeah.
So we'll see if anyone's
we'll
keeping
see.
score, because we sure don't.
I know.
Let us know who's more right after the fact, or not. We'll be together. We'll probably know anyways. You don't need to let us know. But anything, I don't know what like is that is I mean, that's so
That's
magical.
it.
We did it. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, look at
Look at
that. We want to
that.
do this is quick, in and out. Just
Lean,
a review.
mean, and
Fighting machines. Yeah. So
I was gonna say green. No, sorry, I tried.
so again, all of the highlights we've talked about today can be found in our handy highlights playlist at the bottom of the YouTube or in your show notes on your podcast,
Yeah.
just pointing in directions. Yeah, you can find it there. We will be at Survivor Series. We will be
Yes,
taking
we're booked.
over.
We'll be
We
taking
will on
over
the pre-show.
the
Like we'll book
Survivor
on the pre-show.
Series pay-per-view. We'll be in the ring.
Please no.
And I'm just like, sorry, we
We
won't let you into the arena because you have threats of interrupting the show. We're not
right.
interrupting the show.
We will be taking over the RHAPgrams, that's RHAP's Instagram, and we will be. I mean, when I tell you, we're gonna try and document our whole entire day, like trip up to New York. We're gonna be hanging out with some of your favorite RHAP people before the event, so definitely check that out. We will be in the event. Hopefully, maybe we'll stop some people, ask them how they felt about
Oh,
the show during the show. I don't know,
oh
maybe some
yeah.
like on the streets reporting or
You
something.
know, I think, by the way, this is thinking out loud, but a lot of people who I'm sure will see that story have never been to a WWE or a pro wrestling show or a
That's
sports
true.
entertainment show of any
True.
sort for that matter. So, we'll give them the experience. I'm curious. We'll see what we have
That's a
to deal
great
with.
call.
We'll see what
Mm-hmm.
we have to deal with. I don't think I've been to Madison Square Garden for
Mm-hmm.
a few WWE shows in my life, maybe even a non-WWE show at some point. I don't Probably not. But we'll see what they give us in New York, cuz
Yeah.
The New York area has some of the most passionate fans. That's kind of where I grew up, in that New York, New Jersey area with wrestling fans. So it'll be exciting. We'll see what we
Yeah.
get.
This will be my third
She's a big deal.
pay-per-view at Barclays Center.
Third,
Yes,
if you
third.
haven't
I can't
heard,
remember. I'm pretty sure it's third.
that's the
I
word.
want to. I was about to say fourth, but I'm pretty sure it's just the third. So
Mari fourth with her third, and I will also be there as a second
yeah.
to the number
So
one, the EST of RHAP, Mari. There we go.
thank
Look at
you.
that.
And
Look at
the
that.
Bark I love going to the Barclays Center for
Hmm.
WWE. Like I've not had a bad
Yeah.
experience yet. So we'll show you guys that, like Matt said. So you gotta follow the RHAP Instagram at RHAPgrams. That's at RHAPGRAMS. RHAPgrams.
Yes.
Other than that, Matt, where can people find you?
Oh my gosh, I thought you'd never ask. You could find me at Matt Scott GW on the social media. That's one place where you could find me. I'm here on the Wrestling RHAPup each and every week. That's
Mm-hmm.
basically where I pop up. Otherwise, I don't know. There's just other places. Like, stay tuned. You never know where
Oh
I'll pop
yeah.
up. But Mari, where can the people find you?
Of course, you can always find me at on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's two like the number two. You can
Yes.
find us, of course, here every week, Wrestling RHAPup podcast. And you can find me every week on post show recaps, reviewing Insecure with Chappelle and Latanya. This week, Latanya was out. Let's get well soon.
Yeah.
She was out, and we had the great Asia Welch on for us
Yes.
to step in. There were some hot takes. There was some we really went in on this last episode, of course. So please go check out the Insecure post show recaps podcast at post show recaps. That's where you can find it. We also have our own feed, so you can check us out there.
That's right. That's what you
Yeah,
heard that. Yep.
yeah.
That's right.
All right.
There we
So
go.
it's time to go. It
It
is
is time to
time to
go.
go.
The people need us, the world needs us, the dogs
Yes.
need us, and
Yes.
it's a beautiful, beautiful day. You'll see us in a few days. You'll hear from us in a few days on RHAPgrams from Survivor Series. But Mari, I don't
Yeah.
usually close us out. I could say something
know,
about
I'm
flying
sorry.
elbows, but like that's not me. So
Watch out for any flying elbows. We'll see you next week. Bye.